Hello, everyone. This is just me. It's my little rant about 26 versus 27.5 versus 29-inch mountain bike wheels. Now, this is a very niche thing and esoteric, even to really go on about. But the majority of my experience in mountain biking, and as from a child, has been with 26-inch rims. So I see this little animation, and I'll put it in the description. It's by Richard's Bicycles. It was put out 12 years ago, and it's showing that we're going to get some technical terminology in here. That the approach angle to a square object is less acute, or sorry, is more acute, and it's not as obtuse. Okay, so again, acute, obtuse. Right, close to this is a right angle. This is 45. Imagine there's a triangle, and the approach angle is a division of a pie cut of a radius of the entire circumference of the wheel here. Okay, I'll use this as an example. This 3D printed fidget spinner. Okay? Now this 3D printed fidget spinner has 3 different diameters. Okay? Three different diameters and circumferences of objects, these cylinders nested within inside each other. And of course, you see the 5 gears. Now, the argument for 29ers is that it makes riding easier. But anyone who knows anything about physics understands that the larger an object is, the more rotational mass that it has, and the harder it is to maneuver. It doesn't make it better. And then also, the smaller diameter means more rotations per second to achieve the same velocity of something that is larger in comparison. Now, what does this mean on your bicycle? It means that 26 inches gives you better control and better acceleration. But the 29ers will give you more stability, but also higher top speed, but also is harder to control. There's a trade-off here, okay? And then also it's showing that, again, because of the approach angle, you're not feeling the same amount of disturbance on the trail when you hit a low spot or you go over something. Now, the trade-off in the bicycle geometry is that by a 29er is that they have to crank all the angles in the frame in order for the center of gravity to be in the same position as a 26-inch base bicycle. Okay? Is everybody following this? It's not revolutionary. It's a trade-off. And quite frankly, it's not one that I'm willing to pay money for. I think that the choice to move on to 27.5 and 29 was entirely political, and it was done to open up and make mountain biking more accessible to the road biking crowd, and to say people that prefer cyclocross or whatever else, and people didn't want to buy more than one bicycle. It's pretty simple, it's all marketing bullshit anyways. So again, this, in all practicality, models a gyroscope. And a gyroscope is used inside of an aircraft, okay, to give you roll, pitch, and yaw. An attitude indicator. Whereas in an aircraft, airspeed comes from a static source and a dynamic source in the cross comparison of the two. So from your pitot tube. But the way that they measure velocity with a bicycle, of course, is by the RPM of the wheels, just like your car, right? And so, again, they made compromises in order to make mountain biking feel less challenging for the newcomers, without improving their skill set. Now, there's no replacement for fundamentals. If you don't know how to move your weight around, then it won't matter how big the gap or small the gap is that your wheel goes into. You're gonna get thrown off. You're gonna tossed off to the side, right? You're gonna experience a bit of flexation with the torque from the materials, because that's another thing that they've done, is that they chose different grades of the materials for stiffness. And again, these are all engineering choices, right? But they're also marketing choices, like lifestyle choices, as if to make the bicycles as stiff and as rigid as a road bike, right? So that the road people wouldn't feel disturbed. The roadies wouldn't feel disturbed because the vibrations were different. The harmonics were different. And that's the truth, right? The same thing happens, I'll use another example, is when they went to low-profile tires in circuit racing and motorsports, okay, for larger diameter rims, so that they could fit a larger brake disc package on the spindle. So what you're really getting is less performance for more money. That's my opinion of 29. That's my opinion of 27.5. Don't like it? I don't care. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And one of the other things that, okay, it's cool. Yeah, it's really trendy. It's neat. I kind of like it, but, the my opinion of a bicycle is to keep electronics away from them. E-bikes, in my opinion, are not bicycles, okay? A bicycle, by definition, is a human-powered motive device, right, that turns kinetic energy into forward momentum. And then also, so it gains stability by pedaling. Okay? So another one of those little choices that really matters is the crank arm length. Okay? So that doesn't only change how often and how frequently you pedal strike the ground, but also the center of mass. Because the center of mass is not the center of gravity. And those of you who have taken ground school understand the difference between those two things. And this also applies to motorsport, in that the moment, which is, again, is the center of mass, moves depending on the forces applied. So acceleration, right, the center of mass goes back. In deceleration, the center of mass goes forward. Physics, man. It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. Again, so before I end this video, 29ers are not better. 27.5 is not better. And quite frankly, it's the illusion of a faster bicycle. but it isn't.